The left hand limit is also equal to 8. Therefore LHL is equal to RHL, and hence limit exists at the point x equal to 0. Now for function fx to be continuous, we see that f of 0 must be equal to the left hand limit, and which is equal to the right hand limit. Therefore f of 0 is equal to 8. Now f of 0 is nothing but equal to a, and so we can say that a is equal to 8. So let's try to solve one more example. Let fx is equal to 1 plus modulus of sin x whole to the power of a by modulus of sin x when x lies between minus pi by 6 and 0, is equal to b when x is equal to 0, and is equal to e to the power of tan 2x divided by tan 3x when x lies between 0 and pi by 6. Find the value of a and b so that fx is continuous function at x equal to 0. So in this problem we have been given fx, and we have to find the values of a and b so that fx is a continuous function at the point x equal to 0. So given that fx is equal to 1 plus modulus of sin x whole to the power of a by modulus of sin x when x lies between minus pi by 6 and 0, is equal to b when x is equal to 0, and is equal to e to the power of tan 2x by tan 3x when x lies between 0 and pi by 6. Now we have to find the values of a and b so that fx is a continuous function. Now for a continuous function, limit of fx when x tends to 0 is equal to f of 0. Now let's first try to calculate the right hand limit, because the expression for calculating the right hand limit does not have any a or b. So the right hand limit is equal to limit of e to the power of tan 2h by tan 3h when h tends to 0, because we substitute x equal to 0 plus h and get the value as tan 2h by tan 3h. Now what we do is we multiply and divide the numerator by 2h, and similarly we multiply and divide the denominator by 3h, so that get the expression as tan 2h by 2h into 2h divided by tan 3h by 3h into 3h. Now tan of 2h by 2h when h tends to 0 is equal to 1, and similarly tan 3h by 3h when h tends to 0 is equal to 1. So we get 2h by 3h, and h gets cancelled, so the value of limit is equal to e to the power of 2 by 3. Therefore we can say that right hand limit is equal to e to the power of 2 by 3. Now as fx is continuous, so RHL should be equal to LHL. Now LHL is equal to limit of 1 plus modulus of sin minus h whole to the power of a by modulus of sin of minus h, h tending to 0. Now this gets reduced to limit of 1 plus sin h to the power of a by sin h when h tends to 0. Now we see that when h tends to 0, this reduces to the form of 1 to the power of infinity, and we know that 1 plus fx to the power of 1 by gx when fx tends to 0 and gx tends to 0 could be written as equal to e to the power of limit fx by gx x tending to 0. Now we write it as e to the power of limit a sin h by sin h, h tending to 0. Sin h and sin h gets cancelled, and we get as equal to e to the power of a. Now we know that RHL is equal to e to the power of 2 by 3, and LHL is equal to e to the power a. And also for fx to be continuous, f of 0 should be equal to the left hand limit and the right hand limit, and f of 0 is equal to b. Therefore from this we get a equal to 2 by 3 and b equal to e to the power of 2 by 3. Now let's try to see how to check the continuity of a function at the extreme points of interval. Let us say that a function fx is defined in the interval a comma b. Now this is a closed interval, that is points a and b are included in this interval. Now fx is continuous at left end, that is x equal to a, if limit of fx when x tends to a positive is equal to f of a, that is the right hand limit of fx at the point x equal to a is equal to the value of the function fx at the point x equal to a, which is equal to f of a. Here we don't need to calculate the left hand limit. So if the right hand limit at the point x equal to a is equal to the value of the function at that point, or f of a, then fx is continuous at the left end, that is x equal to a, and fx is continuous at the right end, that is x equal to b, if limit of fx when x tends to be negative is equal to f of b, or in other words we can say that the left hand limit of fx at the point x equal to b is equal to f of b. Then in such case we say that fx is continuous at the right end. Here we don't need to find out the right hand limit at the point x equal to b. So for checking the continuity of a function at the extreme points, what we do is, for the point a we check the right hand limit, and if it is equal to f of a, then it is continuous at the left end, and for the right end we check the left hand limit, and if it is equal to the value of f of b, then we say that fx is continuous at the right end, which is x equal to b. Now let's study about the different kinds of discontinuity. Discontinuity can be divided into two parts, the first kind and the second kind. The first kind of discontinuity is also called as removable type of discontinuity, and the second kind is called as the non-removable type of discontinuity. Further, the first kind of discontinuity can be divided into two categories, that is the missing point discontinuity and the isolated point discontinuity. And the second kind, which is the non-removable type, can be further divided into three categories, and which are finite, infinite and oscillatory type of discontinuity. So the discontinuities can be divided into two parts, the removable and the non-removable. And further, the removable can be divided into two categories, the missing point and the isolated point. The second kind, which is the non-removable, can be of three types, finite, infinite and oscillatory. So let's try to understand these discontinuities one by one. Discontinuity of the first kind, also called as the removable type of discontinuity. Now in this type of discontinuity, the limit of fx exists but is not equal to f of a. Now in this type of discontinuity, the main thing is limit exists but is not equal to f of a. Now we call this type of discontinuity as the removable type, because we can define fx in such a way that the limit of fx when x tends to a is equal to fa, and hence fx becomes continuous at x equal to a. In this type of discontinuity, we know that the limit of fx exists, but f of a is not equal to the limit. But we can actually define f of a in such a way so that it becomes equal to the limit of fx when x tends to a. Thus we can actually remove the discontinuity and make the function fx a continuous one at the point x equal to a. Now the removable type of discontinuity is again further categorized into two types of discontinuities, that is the missing point discontinuity and the isolated point discontinuity. So let's first discuss about missing point discontinuity. It says that if the limit of fx exists and is a finite quantity, but f of a is not defined. Now for such kind of discontinuity, we see that limit exists but f of a is not defined at the point x equal to a. For example, if we consider the function x square minus 1 divided by x minus 1, the limit of x square minus 1 by x minus 1 when x tends to 1 is equal to 2, because this could be written as equal to x plus 1, and hence it is equal to 2. But we also see that the function becomes undefined when x is equal to 1. So the point x equal to 1 is a missing point discontinuity. Hence we can say that the point x equal to 1 is a missing point discontinuity at x equal to 1. That is, the point x equal to 1 is missing from the domain of x. The second is the isolated point discontinuity. Now if the limit of fx when x tends to a exists, and also f of a exists, but the limit of fx when x tends to a is not equal to f of a. So in this case the limit exists and f of a also exists, that is f of a is defined, but it so happens that the limit is not equal to the value of fx at the point x equal to a. For example, if we consider the function x square minus 1 divided by x minus 1 when x is not equal to 1, and fx is equal to 4 when x is equal to 1. Now we see that limit of fx when x tends to 1 is equal to 2, and given that f of 1 is equal to 4, now 2 is not equal to 4, or the limit of fx is not equal to f of 1. Thus we can say that fx has an isolated point discontinuity at the point x equal to 1. Now this is a removable type of discontinuity, because we can define fx in such a way so that f of a is equal to the limit of fx when x tends to a. Now in this problem, if I say that fx is equal to 2 when x is equal to 1, then limit of fx when x tends to 1 is equal to f of 1 and which is equal to 2. So this becomes a continuous function. So in short, we can say that for removable type of discontinuities, we can actually remove the point of discontinuity by redefining the function fx so that limit of fx when x tends to a is equal to f of a. The next is discontinuity of the second kind, also called as the non-removable type. Now why it is called as? Let's just check it out. Here the limit of fx does not exist. So if the limit of fx does not exist, then it becomes impossible to make the fx continuous by redefining it. That's why they are